What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at this 2024 Nissan Titan Pro 4X 4x4. This one's finished in Glacier White. MSRP is $65,000. Big shout out to Flo Nissan of Statesville for providing this new truck for today's video. Take a look at their website, links down below. Underneath the hood of the 2024 Nissan Titan, you're going to find the 5.6 liter naturally aspirated 8-cylinder engine. This V8 is pumping out 400 horsepower with 413 pound-feet of torque. It's also paired to a 9-speed automatic transmission with a 2-speed transfer case for 4-wheel drive and locking differentials. This truck also runs on a 26-gallon fuel tank. Curb weight is around 9,800 pounds. You're going to expect 14 miles per gallon in the city with 20 out on the highway, and this can even tow about 9,000 pounds. The overall length is 229.5 inches with a wheelbase at 139.8. Width is 80.7 and height is 77.2 inches. The Pro 4X also has approach angle at 23 degrees, breakover angle is 22 degrees, minimum ground clearance is 9.8 inches, and then departure angle is 23 degrees. Moving on to the exterior styling with the 2024 Nissan Titan Pro 4X. This is definitely a massive truck, very similar design even from the first generation. You're going to see a nice set of LED headlights, nice and blacked out, and then a dark gray color for the entire grille. You can see your Nissan logo front and center with an orange trim. You can see a forward-facing camera as well, and then massive openings to provide cooling to that 8-cylinder. You got some body color cutting underneath into the front bumper, and you can also see LED fog lights and some parking sensors. There are metal tow hooks up in front, finishing that orange color, and then some silver trim down below on the metal skid plate. You have more openings in the front end to provide a ton of cooling. We also have a Pro 4X badge in the front as well. It's definitely a nice, bold-looking truck. On the hood, you're going to see two sleek body lines fading their way into the windshield just to give it that massive front-end appearance. At the side, you're going to see the gray color for this plastic fender liner, and then a nice all-terrain tire with a two-tone design for the wheels. You got your Nissan badge right in the center, 18-inch diameter, and a nice two-tone color. You can see a nice sharp body line throughout the lower portion of these doors with a black powder-coated running board. It even says Titan in the center in that orange color. You got plastic black for your door handles along with the mirror caps, integrated turn signal, and then some black trim for the pillars. Now up on top, you are going to see a panoramic sunroof, which is a nice touch for a big truck. And then the side profile. This is a massive truck, full 4-door with a nice shorter bed. There's a nice sharp body line along the bedside, Pro 4X badge, and then mud flaps behind all the wheels. We have our side exit exhaust tucked away pretty nicely, and then you're going to see this gray color for the plastic bumper. There are parking sensors on it as well, some plastic for the grip up above with your trailer hitch and all the connections, an integrated side step that you can pop outwards, and then a really cool looking design for these LED taillights. Got a black trim piece in the center that matches what we saw on all the bumpers, all of your badging, Pro 4X. Then the backup camera right in the center with Titan written out on the left side of the tailgate. Moving to the key fob, we get remote start, lock, unlock in your panic, as well as a Nissan badge. Going ahead and locking the truck, you can just grab the door handle, press the button, and we can automatically unlock it. This one's going to get a nice black leather interior with some orange contrast stitching all throughout it. Door panel finished off in the black. You have some plastic material up above, more soft touch in the center with your nice vinyl material and stitching. All the window controls, mirror controls, grab handle as well. A little bit of storage down below, and then a Fender audio system. You got Pro 4X on the door sill, all of your power controls on the seats, and then you can see the perforations throughout the center with smooth leather and all that contrast stitching. It does say Pro 4X, which is a nice touch on the bolster, contrast stitching on the headrest, and a nice size sunshade up above. You can also see more contrast throughout this 4-spoke steering wheel. And then now inside the 2024 Titan Pro 4X, keep my foot on the brake, we can fire it up. You're going to see a nice combination of analog and digital right in the center. We have the tach on the left, speedometer on the right, and then the screen in the center you can configure using these controls. So if I scroll left and right, you can see a few things of information like all sorts of different settings within the truck. Continuing over, you have tire pressure, driving aids, speed limit sign, and basically everything you would expect in a normal modern truck. So nice to see a few things. You're also able to take a look at different gauges and then off-road settings. So nice touch overall. On the steering wheel, you're going to see more of those controls, Bluetooth and audio on the left, and then some cruise control settings on the right with distance pacing. Now the gear selector is kind of like an old school truck. You can just do all of that, which is a nice touch to see. You have your plus and minus, tow mode as well, and then the stalk on the left side for all the windshield wipers. To the left of the steering wheel, we are going to get headlight controls, interior lighting, and then down below we have some power outlets. You also have rear locking diff, downhill assist, and an automatic button for your steering column. There's memory seating in this truck, and then I like how you have the tweeters up above and this nice vinyl material all across the dash with contrast stitching. On the far right side, you can see some of this silver type carbon fiber look material, which is a cool little touch. Air vents on the left side of the screen, and then Nissan's infotainment screen, which is pretty basic. Different shortcuts down below, full screen navigation, our menu icon, a few more shortcuts. If I go ahead and put the truck into reverse, you got a pretty decent backup camera along with that top-down view, which is a great thing to see. And then going back into park, you're gonna see volume on the left side, tuning and scrolling on the right, and physical climate controls down below. We have the dual zone temperature, your fan speed, all the different controls there. And then our four-wheel drive selection down below. You're gonna see the traction control off, parking sensors, heated steering wheel along with the surround view. And then down below that, we have the trailer adjust for the braking and some plugs. Now this has heated and ventilated seats. I really like how you can just toggle that super simply. Just a little bit of storage and then more storage in the center with a phone slot. See a cup holder as well, and all of this is removable, which is nice to pop it out and kind of configure how you'd like it. On the center, you're gonna see this vinyl material with the nice stitching, and then opening that up, we have quite a lot of storage space with, once again, another removable piece. Glove box on the right side opens up, a nice large bucket. And then one last look at the interior. Definitely not the most up-to-date modern truck out there. However, it's kind of simple and easy to use. And I know a lot of people do appreciate the steering column shifter. Nice design overall with the contrast stitching and everything. You can see the sliding rear glass along with that massive panoramic sunroof. You have all those controls up above, and then up in front you're going to see a nice sunglass holder, and then your thin mirror with garage door buttons underneath. Moving on to the rear seat space, grabbing the door and opening it up. It doesn't open quite 90 degrees like some other crew cabs. However, on the door panel you're going to see some soft touch material along with the same stitching, a little bit of storage throughout the door pocket as well. And then in back you have the same perforated leather in the center with contrast stitching. In the center we can pull this down and you're going to have a nice armrest with two cup holders. There's no center headrest, which is a little odd. But then in the center you're going to see some climate control vents, heated seats, different plugs as well. You have extra storage up above, Titan, and then storage behind each of these seats. Now from here we can pull this, and this will fold down nice and flat with the seat out of the way, of course. You have a carpeted back, and then just a little bit of hidden storage space all behind. Underneath the seats you can lift this up, and you're gonna see a nice cubby. You can kind of pull this outwards, change the shape. You're gonna see hidden storage down below, and then you can adjust how you'd like this to fit more items all back here. Sitting into the back seat with the Nissan Titan. I don't think I've ever been in a Titan, quite honestly. So at 5'11", I have pretty good headroom, as you can tell. That headrest for the left and right seat is pretty nice. With the driver's seat at my height, I still have good knee room and foot room. I will say the bases are pretty short for my legs. They definitely feel like they cut off a little bit. Wouldn't mind a more larger seat. And then the backrest, there's no reclining, so you're kind of straight up. So it's all right back here. I mean, if you had maybe a car seat, it probably would fit in here. Younger kids probably aren't gonna complain too much. The sunroof, of course, will be sweet, having that fully open, grab handles and dome lights. So it's not a bad back seat. However, other full-size trucks, F-150, Ram 1500, I think definitely have better space back seats. But then again, this one is a little bit more old school with a better price. Moving on to the bed space now, just grabbing the handle. It will feature a soft open, and then you're gonna get a spray and bed liner on this particular truck. We have some hooks all throughout, power outlet as well. And then these silver rails are really nice to accommodate different sliders to fit all sorts of things in the bed. So definitely a nice sized bed overall. You can see the LED lights back here as well. And then the tailgate really doesn't weigh all too much. Lifting it up, we can easily close it. All right, so setting off now in the Nissan Titan Pro 4X. Pretty cool to see a V8, of course. This is more of an old school truck, just kind of giving you what trucks used to be in the previous generation. The V8's pretty smooth, the transmission seems to deliver the power well, and it sounds good actually. It sounds like you would expect. So not too bad from it. It of course does have a little bit of lag down low. You really got to utilize the RPM to use the engine. Modern turbos, of course, are going to have a lot of torque down low, well under 4,000 RPM. So a little bit different driving dynamic when you compare this to the turbo versions of this truck. Definitely a cool truck though, with that panoramic roof and everything, good view around. You definitely sit nice and high. This is a big truck. You can tell it's a full-size truck. I do like how this dips downwards a little bit, helping you see through those mirrors. And then the steering is pretty responsive in the normal driving. Slow speed, it definitely is a little bit weighted. So this is a very mechanical feeling truck. Just kind of has that aspect to it. Getting back up to some speed. Yeah, you definitely start feeling that power come alive in the higher RPM. These seats are pretty comfortable as well. Really nice and padded, of course with the ventilator on, the AC on. It's a pretty nice truck to just daily drive, use this for your work truck, family truck, whatever you need. So a good place to be in. Armrests are pretty comfortable as well. And then it's pretty smooth to drive. It doesn't really drive like an abrupt truck. However, it does kind of, again, drive like a more older school vehicle. If you've driven maybe full-size trucks from 10 years ago, this kind of has that feeling. So when we get back and move, you can tell like with the steering, how it is heavy. It's also a little on the vague side once you're up and going. So it feels like just a big truck. So if you're looking for a truck that drives like a truck, I think the Nissan Titan kind of might be that. It doesn't have that extra luxury refinements you're seeing in a lot of the more modern vehicles. So it's kind of giving you that back to the basics feeling. But in it, you have enough technology, it works well. I mean, it's nothing fancy in here for sure, but it gives you what you want. And not everybody likes all the newest stuff, the turbos, things like that. So this is kind of just where we used to be, basically. And when you are driving it, it's still modern enough to do what you need to do, and really not a bad place to be. Can't really find any complaints with the driving dynamics. Feels like a smooth truck. If you're used to an older V8, you're kind of gonna be very familiar when hopping into this new Titan. All right, so turning around to my perspective, I know a lot of people love the column-mounted shifters. You haven't seen them on the domestic trucks in a very long time. So it's cool that the Nissan Titan is kind of giving you that. It's giving you a lot of what trucks used to be, but in a brand new vehicle. And when you look at the spectrum of full-size trucks that are still gas-powered, I mean, a lot of them are moving to 6-cylinder twin turbos. Ford still offers the V8, which is a great option. Ram, however, does not. The Hemi's gone, and that's been one of the most iconic V8s we've probably ever heard of. The new Hurricane engine I do like a lot, though, but a lot of people just want simple V8. It's very robust, you know you can depend on it long term, and it's an engine that you can work on yourself, and it's not really going to be a hard engine to maintain long term. And judging by the comments, truck buyers drive their trucks, they use them for utility, and they drive them many, many miles and a lot of hard miles. So truck buyers want a truck that's going to last them 200,000 to 300,000 miles with general maintenance, and I feel like the Nissan Titan is kind of going to give you that. You can get a Ford, so those are probably the two best options, of course General Motors. So you still have some good options out there, but the biggest competitor to the Titan is probably the Toyota Tundra, being a Japanese company. The Tundra's V8's gone, and the 6-cylinder turbo has been having some sloppy build quality and leaving owners with issues. So if you're looking for the Japanese brand full-size truck, the Titan is probably going to be pretty appealing, especially to previous generation Toyota Tundra owners. So I'm really curious to see if any Tundra owners are skipping the new one and going for one of these. When you are driving this, yes, it's not really the newest. It doesn't feel like it's crazy brand new with all sorts of technology. It kind of feels like just a normal utilitarian truck, really nothing to blow your socks off. But when you look at the pricing, 65 grand, it's not too crazy in price, I would say. You know, it's pretty much right on par with the competition. Some of them are definitely a little bit more expensive. So I feel like Nissan's doing a pretty good job pricing these to where it's not really gonna break the bank for what it is. Certainly not a cheap truck at $65,000, but you know, it's not $80,000 either. When today's market, you can spend that on a gas truck pretty darn easily. The overall driving, like I said, it feels like a truck. It has that full-size feeling to where it's not a luxury truck. You know, years ago when I worked in the dealerships driving, 2007 Super Duties, things like that, this kind of reminds me of that. It's got that big road presence, so it just feels like a tank. The steering a little vague on the straights, heavy in the slow speeds, and just kind of a big roomy truck with a big old engine. That's kind of what I'm getting from the newest Nissan Titan. Only drawbacks, the back seats are definitely smaller compared to everything else. I recently did a Ram. The back seat was amazing. It had reclining functions. It was pretty sweet. And with the dealer discount, it was actually a little bit cheaper than this. So a Ram Laramie, honestly, that is a heck of a nice truck, and you get a lot of features, but you don't get a V8. So this is kind of one of those things where it really depends if you want that old school V8, the old school power plant, and want something brand new. This is a really good way to go. Ford and Chevy might be a little bit more expensive if you get a fully loaded one, especially in these off-road trims. But a cool option. I'd love to hear everyone else's thoughts on what the Titan has to offer. First time I think I've ever driven one. I've driven the old generation probably 10 years ago. So it's been a while since I've been around this truck in general, been around some of the Tundras and a lot of the other trucks. It's not a bad option, definitely not the newest, but if you want the old school feeling, Nissan is giving you that. And from the views and comments, people really do like that. So that is it for the 2024 Nissan Titan Pro 4X. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for plenty more content. And a big shout out to Flo Nissan of Statesville for providing this truck for today's video. Take a look at their website linked down below, and I'll see you all in the next video.